Good day, everyone. First, I want to say thank you for the Committee of Exit 2021 for the opportunity to join this conference. First, I want to present our paper today with the title Exploring Entrepreneurial Self-Efficacy Concept, a Literature Review. I want to introduce myself. My name is Darma Rika Swaramarinda. The other authors are Dr. Badrul Isa, Dr. Nurhayati Muhammad Yusuf, Dr. Muhammad Ali Bahari Abdul. Introduction. As the topic of entrepreneurship study expands, it will be required to conduct various types of literature reviews on a regular basis in order to fully comprehend the material gathered. Therefore, dissecting what is known by looking at the stock of information produced is beneficial. However, in entrepreneurial research, entrepreneurial self-efficacy has emerged as a crucial psychological component. Previous research on entrepreneurial self-efficacy was fragmented, with researchers from various disciplinary backgrounds adopting a wide variety of methodological and theoretical approach to investigate different research questions. Therefore, this paper conducted a literature review to take a deeper knowledge at entrepreneurial efficacy. The researchers also contribute to the literature by developing a new conceptual with subconstructs and keywords that synthesize findings from existing research. The researchers aim to provide an overview of entrepreneurial self-efficacy in this paper by highlighting the important literature and themes that have been studied. It aims to form a concept relevant to entrepreneurial self-efficacy and gain the theoretical basis to support this conceptualization. For this paper, the researchers analyzed and investigated the literature as a first step to better understand the concept under study properly. As Arch and Denson 2014 stated that in the literature review, the goal for researchers are to synthesize and develop a reasonable conclusion for the research aims, not to review or cite as many authors as possible. By synthesizing, researchers must evaluate the current literature, think, study, and write critically in a consistent manner that supports and defends their argument in their selected field of interest. Next method is paper using traditional literature review. As we know that literature review, as evaluating literature in academic settings, allows you to comprehend the current level of knowledge in a subject area, relate it to ongoing research, and identify knowledge gaps. Furthermore, a literature review can contribute in the definition of studies' fundamental conceptual as well as its many dimension and complexity. A literature review is a comprehensive summary of several previous studies that are organized around specific themes. Database used in this literature review paper is secondary data gathered from previous studies, outcomes, rather than through first-hand observation. Secondary data was gathered in recent journal articles with the theme and keywords entrepreneurial self-efficacy published nationally and internationally. In this literature review paper, the researchers use high-quality database such as Scopus, ProQuest, Science Direct, Google Scholars, and others to conduct a literature search. In this paper, the researchers use acronym ESE for entrepreneurial self-efficacy. Then, we all know that entrepreneurial self-efficacy cannot be separated from the scope of entrepreneurship. Researchers conducted a literature review by looking for ESE definitions from various kinds of literature. Therefore, this paper does not aim to determine how ESE research should be developed, but the researchers seek to obtain a broad understanding of the concept ESE from previous studies. This paper compare, analyze, and synthesize previous studies that note the conceptual diversity that has been applied in the field. The researchers complement other literature review studies, targeting specific aspects by adapting relevant journals and articles and different analysis. In this literature review from theories, the researchers compare and synthesize from the keywords about ESE. So we concluded that ESE is a person's belief about their skills and ability to perform entrepreneurial tasks and activities to achieve goals locally. Then we developed the subcontracts of ESE in this paper based on previous studies that are on skills, initiating investor relationship, personal traits, and gain knowledge. It came from the previous studies have adapted ESE instrument developed by the Nobel, but they have different subcontracts, namely creativity, planning management, human resource management, financial literacy, and managing ambiguity. Other studies have adapted that ESE instrument for measuring the ESE using the subcontract on skills, gain knowledge, and personal traits, and the other previous studies. We synthesize the subcontracts of ESE based on the subcontracts employed in previous studies and literature review. So in this paper, the subcontracts of ESE are on skills, initiating investor relationships, personality traits, and gain knowledge. The conceptual gap emerged as a result of different ideas being utilized in prior studies. Therefore, this condition can serve as the foundation for developing a different concept that fills a gap in the literature. The next stage in this paper is to conduct a literature review of the ESE subconstructs. The purpose of this literature review is to determine the interpretation of subconstructs as well as the subconstructs keywords that will be used in questionnaire item. On skills, initiating investor relationships, personal traits, and gain knowledge are the subconstructs used to measure ESE in this paper. First, for on skills, the researchers wanted to share literature that includes many expert definitions of on skills. Then the researchers compare the same keyword, concept, or notion offered by some of these experts, which then constitute the researcher's basis for summarizing the descriptions of on skills in this paper. The keywords of on skills can then be used to build statements on the questionnaire items. So, in this paper, on skills refer to the individual ideas to create new things as a result of self-exploitation. The keywords that can be used for on skills items are idea, self-exploitation, and create new things. Next, the researchers also did the same process to the second one of the subconstructs. The researchers compare the same keyword, concept, or idea which form the researcher's basis for summarizing the definition of initiating investor relationship in this paper based on the definition offered by some of these experts. So the initiating investor relationship keywords can then be utilized to generate statements on questionnaire items. In this paper, we concluded that initiating investor relationship refers to the individual's belief that they can make opportunities relationships, and find sources of funds from investors. And then the keywords that can be used for initiating investor relationship items are find sources of funds, opportunities, and relationships. The same process also for the third subconstructs. The researchers compare the same keyword concept or notion that researchers later use to summarize the description of personal traits in this paper. Then, based on the keywords of personal traits, statement on question items can be developed. The conceptual gap arises as a result of prior studies concepts being used differently. Therefore, this issue could form a basis for developing a new concept that fills the gap. Previous studies stated that risk-taking and personality traits were considered as two different constructs, but even with other studies stated that as indicated by FFM models, risk-taking can predict personality traits. And then risk-taking behavior was linked to personality traits. So the researchers discovered a gap between the usage of personality traits and risk-taking as constructs and subconstructs after reviewing previous studies. However, risk-taking is included as a subconstruct of personality traits in the ESE construct in this research to fill this gap. This inconsistency research might be a step to explore again about ESE with its subconstructs. So, we concluded that personal traits refer to individual inner and outer factors that relate to confidence and risk-taking connected to entrepreneurship. The keywords that can be used for personal traits items are confidence and risk-taking. Last subconstruct is gain knowledge. The researchers compare the same keyword, concept, or insight covered by some of these experts, which eventually constitute the researcher's thesis for presenting the definition of gain knowledge in this paper. The gain knowledge keywords can then be used to construct statements on question items. So, gain knowledge refers to using all knowledge resources, educational background, experience for removing barriers to entrepreneurship. The keywords that can be used for gain knowledge items are knowledge resources, educational background, experiences, and removing barriers. The conclusion of this paper, a research review of previous studies on entrepreneurial self-efficacy was undertaken in this paper. There was also a review of how ESE has been measured in past research, but the contribution of this paper is to provide new concepts according to the analysis of the kinds of literature related to ESE and its subconstructs. Furthermore, this literature review is the pure thought of the researchers. Gaps in the literature were found during the review process. The conceptual gap emerged as a result of different ideas being utilized in prior studies. Therefore, this condition can serve as the condition for developing a different concept that fills a gap in the literature. The result obtained is that the entrepreneurial self-efficacy construct is built based on subconstructs, namely on skills, initiating investor relationships, personal traits, and gain knowledge. Subconstructs can also be described in several keywords, which can distinguish one subconstruct from another. This inconsistency research might be a step to explore again about entrepreneurial self-efficacy with its subconstructs. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.